Pierce Brosnan was born on May 16, 1953, in the small Irish town of Navan, County Meath, into circumstances that demanded resilience long before fame ever entered his life. His father left when he was an infant, and soon after, his mother moved to London to train as a nurse, hoping to secure a better future. Left behind, young Pierce was raised by relatives and later by a boarding house family, growing up with a deep sense of separation and self-reliance. Loneliness became familiar, but it also nurtured an inner strength and sensitivity that would later define his artistry. These early years taught him how to observe, endure, and imagine, skills far more valuable than comfort. When he finally reunited with his mother in London at age 11, the world felt suddenly wider. That transition marked the beginning of a lifelong journey shaped by perseverance, empathy, and an unshakable will to rise beyond circumstance. Discovering art, performance, and a sense of belonging, London opened Pierce Brosnan to creativity in ways he had never known before. Though naturally shy, he was deeply imaginative, drawn to visual art, storytelling, and movement. A formative moment came when he watched a fire eater perform at a circus, an experience he later described as awakening something magical within him. That spark led him toward theater, where performance offered not attention, but belonging. He trained at Drama Centre London, immersing himself in classical technique while developing a natural charisma that set him apart. Brosnan's acting style was never loud or forceful. Instead, it carried emotional precision and quiet confidence. He learned to communicate feeling through restraint, a skill rooted in his own lived experiences. These formative years refined not only his craft, but his character. Acting became more than a career path. It became a language through which he could express vulnerability, resilience, and humanity with rare authenticity. Early recognition and the rise of a modern gentleman. Pierce Brosnan's first major breakthrough arrived in the early 1980s with the television series Remington Steele. Playing a charming, intelligent conman turned detective, he captivated audiences with effortless wit, elegance, and impeccable timing. The role established him as an international star and redefined the image of the modern gentleman hero. Brosnan brought humor without arrogance and confidence without cruelty, qualities that resonated deeply with viewers. Long before James Bond entered his life, Remington Steele showcased the balance that would become his signature: sophistication paired with emotional warmth. While fame followed quickly, Brosnan remained grounded, viewing success as opportunity rather than entitlement. The series also demonstrated his versatility, allowing him to move seamlessly between romance, comedy, and mystery, becoming James Bond and redefining an icon. In 1995, Pierce Brosnan stepped into one of cinema's most iconic roles, becoming the fifth actor to portray James Bond in GoldenEye. His interpretation honored tradition while modernizing the character for a new generation. Brosnan's Bond was sleek, lethal, and refined, yet unmistakably human, capable of vulnerability beneath the polished exterior. Audiences responded immediately, embracing a version of 007 that balanced emotional depth with classic charm. Over 4 films, GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day, Brosnan helped re-energize the franchise and expand its global reach. His era became definitive for millions of fans who saw him as the embodiment of Ian Fleming's creation. Rather than dominating the role, Brosnan served it, understanding that Bond's power lay not just in action, but in presence, restraint, and inner conflict. A career defined by range, risk, and curiosity. Outside of Bond, Pierce Brosnan consistently challenged himself, refusing to be confined by a single image. He embraced dramatic complexity in films like The Ghostwriter and The Matador, displayed romantic sophistication in The Thomas Crown Affair, and surprised audiences with his musical performance in Mamma Mia! Each role reflected an actor eager to grow rather than repeat himself. Brosnan approached every project with seriousness and respect, regardless of genre or scale. In later years, he continued exploring diverse material, from thrillers and horror to action comedies and fantasy. Whether a project achieved critical acclaim or modest reception, his performances were often highlighted for their control and commitment. This willingness to experiment revealed an artist motivated by curiosity rather than fear. Brosnan's longevity stems not from nostalgia, but from his ability to evolve while remaining true to the quiet integrity that has always defined his work. Love, loss, and the woman who changed his life. Forever Pierce. Brosnan's personal life has been shaped profoundly by love and loss, beginning with his marriage to Australian actress Cassandra Harris. When they married in 1980, Brosnan was still finding his footing, and Cassandra became his anchor. She brought warmth, wisdom, and emotional stability into his life, while he embraced her 2 children as his own. Their bond was deep and genuine, marked by mutual respect and shared dreams. Cassandra also introduced him to wider creative circles, unknowingly placing him closer to the path that would eventually lead to James Bond. Their happiness, however, was overshadowed by tragedy when Cassandra was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Brosnan stood by her throughout her illness, witnessing her courage with heartbreaking intimacy. Her death in 1991 devastated him, leaving a lasting imprint on his soul. He has often said that her grace reshaped his understanding of love, responsibility, and resilience forever. Healing, renewal, and a life rebuilt with purpose. Years after Cassandra's passing, Pierce Brosnan found love again with journalist and environmental activist Keely Shea Smith. Their connection was immediate, rooted in shared values rather than spectacle. Keely brought light, optimism, and steadiness into his life at a time when he was still healing. They married in 2001 in Ireland, honoring both his heritage and a new beginning. Together, they built a family centered on creativity, environmental awareness, and emotional openness, raising 2 sons with intention and care. Keely's influence helped Brosnan rediscover joy without forgetting loss. Their marriage has often been admired for its authenticity and mutual respect, qualities Brosnan speaks of with gratitude rather than performance. He frequently credits Keely with restoring his belief in happiness and balance. Their partnership reflects a life rebuilt not on denial of pain, but on acceptance, growth, and enduring love shaped by shared purpose. Meeting Robin Williams and creating cinematic magic. Pierce Brosnan's collaboration with Robin Williams on Mrs. Doubtfire in 1993 became one of the most cherished chapters of his career. At 72, Brosnan has spoken with honesty and reverence about the man behind the laughter. He described Williams as pure creative energy, capable of transforming a room within seconds. Watching him work was, in Brosnan's words, like witnessing something miraculous. Williams could leap from wild improvisation to profound emotional sincerity without warning, making comedy feel deeply human. Though Mrs. Doubtfire was a family film, Brosnan understood that its emotional power came from Williams's empathy. He brought real pain and tenderness to the role, allowing audiences to laugh while feeling seen. Brosnan has said that Williams never performed to impress. He performed to connect. Kindness, humility, and the quiet weight. He carried beyond the camera. Pierce Brosnan remembers Robin Williams as remarkably kind and humble. Despite global fame, Williams treated everyone with equal warmth, from crew members to children visiting the set. Brosnan recalls how he made people feel valued, never rushed, never overlooked. Yet, with time, Brosnan came to recognize a depth within Williams that extended beyond joy. He does not claim insight into private struggles, but he sensed a gentleness and complexity that felt heavy at times. Moments of silence followed bursts of laughter, revealing a man who gave endlessly of himself. Brosnan believes Williams used humor as a form of healing, offering light to others, even when carrying his own weight. When Williams passed away in 2014, the loss felt deeply personal, remembering a friend and the truth that endures. At 72, Pierce Brosnan speaks of Robin Williams with gratitude rather than sadness alone. He cherishes memories of laughter-filled days, spontaneous improvisation, and acts of kindness that never made headlines. For Brosnan, Williams's greatest legacy is not just brilliance, but generosity of spirit. He taught him that kindness is a form of artistry, and that true greatness lies in how one treats others when no one is watching. Brosnan hopes the world remembers Williams not only as a comic genius, but as a deeply compassionate man who wanted people to feel less alone. The truth he shares now is simple and profound. Robin Williams mattered, not because he was famous, but because he cared. As Brosnan reflects on a life shaped by resilience, love, and loss, his words stand as a heartfelt tribute to a friendship built on respect, humanity, and a shared belief in the power of storytelling to heal.